So welcome to Java Development and Testing Tools webinars. So we are going to cover Sonar today. And next week we are going to cover Code Pro Analytics from Google. And then following weeks we are going to look into Maven, Basics, Advanced, and Nexus, and JIT and GitHub. So we're going to actually do more coding level of the tools from maybe 2 weeks from now. Okay, so let's move on to the presentation of today, Sonar. So Sonar is actually for managing source code quality. These are the topics that we are going to cover. So we are going to look into why you want to manage your source code quality, kind of obvious reason, and we'll look into why we want to use Sonar for that purpose, and look into a Sonar architecture. And then we'll see how we can get started and integration with other tools, and then we're going to go to the hands-on lab. So why manage source code quality? So these are 7 deadly sins of a developer, and not following coding standards and best practices. And we looked into coding convention and standards last week. And lacking comments in source code, especially public APIs, that is a very bad thing. Not having, actually having duplication of your code, and having complexity in your code, having no code coverage, meaning testing coverage, and or actually no low-cost code coverage by unit test, especially in complex part of your application. And leaving potential bugs and having spaghetti design. So these are 7 deadly sins of a developer. So these are 7 axes of software quality, so that represent those 7 deadly sins. Okay? So here we're talking about architecture and design, duplication of your code, unit test, complexity, potential bugs, and coding rules and comments. So these are 7 axes measurement, measuring the software quality of your code. Question from Ramini. What is a spaghetti design? Spaghetti design is not clean design. So, if you actually think about the spaghetti, the spaghetti is kind of intermixed each other, right? So when you have a spaghetti design, it's very hard to maintain your code, meaning whenever you make a small change, you basically impact the rest of the code. So that's what it means to have a spaghetti design. Okay, what is and why Sonar? So Sonar is open source platform used by development team to manage source code quality. And basically the idea of Sonar is to have this source code quality management accessible to everyone. So, the only way that you could gauge your source code quality before Sonar was, basically looking at the code and having somebody looking at the code, and it's very subjective, and it doesn't actually even trend on the quality of your code moving forward. So Sonar is actually designed to have this source code quality information to be accessible to everyone, and also giving you a trend, okay, so as you will see later on. So how to proceed on source code quality management? So first of all, you define which of those axes are important to you and to what extent, and you can configure these things in Sonar, in fact. Come up with a plan for reaching the target level that might be simply to keep a high level of quality. So again, you come up with a plan for reaching those target level, and then actually achieve those target level of source quality. And again, the great thing about Sonar is they're giving you trend information so that you can see whether you're making a progress or not. And you can start small, and small project, and if it actually gives you a value, then you can actually expand the Sonar into other projects and the more larger scale in your organization. Managing quality profiles. So basically you can have a multiple quality profiles, and you can then associate a quality profile to a particular project depending on your objective. Okay, so you could in fact use Sonar for maybe support only project or new project or critical application, and depending on type of application, you might in fact apply different quality profile. Okay, so managing a profile consists of activating and deactivating 8 weight coding rules. So weight coding rules is that which is more important. So whatever axis you have, whatever gauge you have, you could actually give more weight on certain things, again depending on type of project you're working on. And then you can define threshold and matrix for automatic alerting. So you can say, whenever this thing happens, I want to get some notification, something like that. And then you can define project and profile association. So you're going to actually associate a particular profile with a project. Okay, moving forward, Sonar architecture. So it's very simple, the architecture. Basically, you have a Sonar runner, which is actually running multiple tools like a JUnit and JACOCO for code coverage, check style and PMD, CPD, and findbox. So you're going to look into each of these tools in a bit more detail in the following slides. So you're going to actually run this Sonar runner. And then basically you have a web interface to look into the quality of your project. Okay, so basically you are running your Sonar runner with your particular application, by the way, and then you are going to see the quality of that project source code using this web interface, and information can be saved in Sonar database. Okay, and you can also use a Sonar Eclipse if you want to. So this is a Sonar Eclipse plugin, so that you can see Sonar-based information instead of actually from the web interface. You can actually see from within the Eclipse, and we'll see how these things work later on when we do the hands-on app. So architectural components of Sonar is again set of source code analyzers, and so these code analyzers are basically in the form of Maven plugins, and they can be triggered on demand. And by the way, Sonar can be actually used with Maven and non-Maven project, by the way, and it contains a database, and it supports this 5 database. And the third is only demo purpose only, and others are actually for production servers, production database servers you can use in production environment. Okay, so databases again maintains the result of analysis and project information and configuration information and time machine. So this is the historical analysis for time machine. This is a trend information I was talking about. And then you have web reporting tool. So again, you're going to see the result of your code quality analysis from your web page. Okay, and these are the tools that are used by Sonar. So again, for finding coding rules and style validation, it uses PMD and check style. So these are the things that we looked into last week. For finding and finding bugs, is using findbox, and for code coverage, testing code coverage, it could use JACOCO, it could use Gobotra, or it could use Clover. Okay, and for code analyzing through source code and bytecode parsing, it's using its own Squid. Okay, so these are the tools that are used internally by Sonar. Okay, so let's move on to how to get started. Very simple. So you are going to download Sonar package from this website, and you're going to unzip it, and then you're going to just run start sonar.bat file under your particular platform. Okay, and that's pretty simple. And then you're going to, for example, check out the code, and then you're going to actually run Maven, Sonar, and Sonar on that particular project, and then this is a web, the web location. So you basically say you're gonna actually go to localhost 9000. Okay. So when you run the Sonar with the Sonar.bat, start Sonar.bat file and Sonar.sh on other platforms, basically it's running Sonar as actually a web server. So then you can actually access it using localhost and 9000 port. Alright, in terms of plugins, so it is based on plugin system like the Hudson and Jenkins. So it has a lot of plugins. So, additional language plugins. So you can use Sonar for Flex, Groovy, and XML, JavaScript, and web, as well as it also has governance, technical depth plugin, and total quality plugin. In fact, total quality plugin is configured as a default. And visualization and reporting plugin, so radiator plugin, motion chart plugin, timeline plugin. We're going to actually look into all these things later on in the hands-on lab. And it's well integrated with the CI, continuous integration server, such as Hudson and Jenkins, and also source control management activity plugin, and additional matrix and localization. So we might actually go to Sonar plugin webpage and see what they have. Okay, so one example of the plugin is technical debt plugin. So we actually looked into the concept of technical debt last week, right? So basically, it evaluates how much technical debt a project is in, and it actually have 4 advanced measures. For example, it gives you a debt ratio, and the cost to reimburse, and the work to reimburse. The work to reimburse, meaning how much money and how many man days it will take to correct this technical debt, and it also gives you a breakdown by axis. So just to give you a sense of these things in a bit more detail, I have this slide. So the technical debt first calculated on a basic axis like a duplication, violation, complexity, and code coverage, and documentation and design, and then it's summed up to provide a global measure. So these are the things that we just talked about in previous slides. So debt ratio is a percentage of current technical debt of the project versus the total possible debt for the project. Cost to reimburse. So this is dollar amount that will that will cost to clean up all those defects. And work to reimburse is man hours, and the breakdown is in terms of the breakdown of those technical debt in 6 quality axes. Now, total quality plugin is actually kind of built in, give you a sense of the total quality measure. So it actually combines 4 different domains: architecture, and design, and code, and test. And it is actually using each of these domain measures 25% each, and then each of these is actually computed using its own algorithm internally, and it will give you a total quality measure. And this is the set of plugins. You can just go to so you can we'll actually see the plugins that you can see when we do the hands-on lab. Alright, so that is the presentation. So let's do the hands-on lab. Okay, so first you're gonna download the Sonar. Okay, so basically you download it, and once you unzip it, you are going to actually see this Sonar 2.12 the version. So let's actually do that. So in my case, I have downloaded to Java Tools. So I have this Sonar 2.12. And then you go to bin directory. Let me just move up here a little bit. Then you see all the different architectures, platforms. So I'm going to go to Windows x86 64. And you're going to just run Sonar, start Sonar.bat file. Okay? And it's going to start the web server at port number 9000. Okay. Alright. That's what we just have done. Okay. Now, we are going to use our own Sonar server later on, but before we do that, the Sonar is actually the gauging all the open source the project. I mean the quality of just code quality of all the open source projects. So we're gonna actually kind of play around it first. So you're gonna actually go to this website called the Nemo. Okay, and if you go over here, it actually measures the code quality using Sonar for pretty much all the open source project. Okay, so this is actually kind of nice to play around, the features of the Sonar. Okay, So we are going to try, by the way, each of these projects is configured with a different set of plugins. Okay, so you can pick and choose any of those. I'm going to just choose all Sonar plugin project. So this is the project that actually builds all the Sonar plugins. Okay, so you can see it gives you a sense of line of code, code coverage, and SQAL. I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, and the duplication and the build date and things like that. So let me just So I am going to go all Sonar plugins. Okay, so now this is that sort of the dashboard, so called. Okay, so you can actually see different information on this project. You can see SQAL like this. Okay, and hotspots. So hotspot is actually giving you the most violated rules and longest unit test, most violated resources, and things like that. So I'm going to just kind of use this slide to give you a sense of what each of this, because I have actually commented into it. So, we are basically looking to the various features using open source project. Okay, so we just look into the dashboard. Okay, now SQAL stands for Software Quality Assessment based on lifecycle expectations. You can certainly read about these things. And again, give you the rating and portability, maintainability, security, efficiency, changeability, reliability, and testability. So give you a measurement on this project. Okay. And components include basically what package make up this project. Okay. And it does give you lines of code coverage and SQAL rating for each of those sub-package. And violations. So violations drill down. So this is so this is basically block errors and critical errors, major errors, minor errors, and information errors, and things like that. And actually give you a sense of the source code. So you can actually kind of click these things and you can see the source code. We're going to actually try these things using Pet Clinic in an exercise 2. So in exercise 1, I'm going to just give you a sense of what things you can have. Okay, so I'm going to just move a little bit faster. So this timeline. So this is actually useful. It gives you a trend of the measurement. So this is complexity is actually in fact increasing. Rules of compliance is also increasing, and coverage is also increasing, which is actually a good thing. Coverage, good coverage, this is a good thing. But the other things is probably not a good thing. Okay. All right, and clouds. So basically, clouds give you all classes of a project, module, and package, and it actually you can see by looking at the size of for example, classes, you can see this one has 0 coverage. So you can actually have a coverage as well as rules compliance. Okay, and this one is big. That means the coverage is 0. Okay, and so you can see, and also if you change rules compliance, and then if you just click any of this, it will give you a rules compliance. In this case, 81%. And design is basically what makes up the package and what package is using what, that kind of information. And hotspot, this could be actually useful. So here, you can see where is in fact the hotspot. In fact, what is the highest untested lines. So if you just click this one, you can actually see this is the one that has the highest unit test. Untested lines. Okay, and this is the most violated resources. So this could be a good screen to start with, whenever you're trying to tackle the code quality. And again, if you click this one, you can actually see the code. In this case, this red colored the areas are not tested. And libraries. So sometimes you want to see which library, what version of it is in fact being used. Okay. So if you click libraries, you can see which project is using what version of what libraries. So it gives you a dependency information. Motion chart. So if you actually see your the matrix in the motion chart, this is what you can actually see. So let's actually try some of these things. Okay, so I'm going to just go here. Localhost. Oh, yeah, what we want to do is actually these things, right? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, we want to actually put the Nemo. Yeah. All right, so we just also now plugins. Okay, so motion chart. You can select the period, like 6 months, 1 month, 3 months. Okay, so you can actually see bar graph in different formats. Okay, and you can select one of those options. Yeah, just select the whatever you are interested. Okay, and okay, so this is a timeline. Okay, so in this case, it gives you a sense of what's going on. Okay, in terms of coverage, rules compliance, lines of code, and things like that. So this is the cloud. Okay, so in this case, this one has zero coverage, and this one has so red color. Yeah, so the color is actually that code coverage. So whatever in red color, they are not covered at all. This one, the blue colored, it has some coverage, and if you select rules compliance, yeah, again it gives you the rules compliance information. All right, so that is just the the open source project. Now let's actually try these things on our own project, Pet Clinic. Okay, so what you want to do is you're going to go to your whatever project, in this case a Maven project, and you're going to run this Maven Sonar Maven Sonar. Okay, so here you're basically collecting information, and then that is going to be actually given to Sonar server. Okay. So now I'm going to actually go to localhost 9000. Okay. So I already have Maven, Sonar, and Sonar. So I have this Pet Clinic application. Okay. So if I click Pet Clinic, so I got this dashboard information. Okay, so I can see like a violations drill down here. So let's see what kind of violation I have. Okay, so here if I click the so I have zero blocker violation. I have zero critical violation. I have 12 major violation. So if I click this guy, and I should be able to see where these things are in. So I have in fact the 4 violations in the simple JDBC plugin. Okay. So if I click this guy, then I can see where violations are in fact in. So here I have 4 major violations in this code. Okay, and this is one. So I have integer instantiation violation. Yeah, in fact I have 2 two integer instantiation violation here and here, and preserve stack trace and preserve stack trace. Yeah, so two of each. So if I click this one, it gives you a sense of what the integer instantiation violation is all about. So here in JDK 1.5 and after, calling new integer causes memory allocation. Integer value of is more memory friendly. So this is actually recommended to be used. So that is the violation that we have here. Okay. All right. Now you can see code coverage. Okay. So you can see the code coverage is the 90. Yeah. So this is the yeah. We have a 0% code coverage on this code. Okay. And dependencies, you can see the dependencies. Okay, what classes are actually being used inside this code. Duplication, we don't have any duplication. LCOM4, this is again the if you actually see documentation. I'm just looking at these things. Yeah, LCOM4 measures the number of connected components. So it actually gives you a sense of complexity. Okay. So that's LCOM4, and yeah, so these are dependencies, coverage. We have, yeah, that's what we have done. So you can see, this is a way that you can actually measure code quality of your project. In this case, Pet Connect project. Exercise 3 is now we are going to configure a new plugin. Okay, so you're going to actually logging in first. Okay, so now if you do not log in and then actually see, oh, I'm already logged in right now. Okay, so I'm going to just log out. Okay, so I'm logged out, and if you see, let's see, configuration. There are 3 different Java profiles. So these are the profiles. I'm actually using at the moment Sonar Way profile, and this is another profile, Sonar Way Findbox and Sonar Checks. Okay, and selection of a particular profile is something you can do as a system administrator. Okay, so I'm going to actually log in as a system administrator. The default username and passwords are admin and admin. So I'm going to just log in. Okay. All right, now if I see configuration, and then I can actually select any of these, the other profiles as a default. Okay, and you can create one as well. Okay, all right, and you can compare profiles. So if you click compare profiles, and let's see what other things you can compare. Compare. So only in Sonar Way 0 rules. Only in Sonar Way the Findbox, there are actually 375 rules from Findbox. All right, so let's actually move on to. So we just did the logging in, and we take a look at the configuration, and then we're going to go to the update center. So this is where you can find all the plugins and you can install the plugin. Okay. So let's go to the update center. You go to the update center, and you can see, we have a lot of these are installed plugins. Okay, so I'm already using Checkstyle, Covertry, code coverage, core database cleaner, design, duplications, Findbox, Jakarta PMD, and Surefire, and things like that. Now, for available plugins, these are the available plugins. Okay, so you can just pick and choose any of these plugins. Okay. So I'm going to actually try, let's say, motion chart plugins, and then you can just install it. And so Sonar needs to be restarted in order to install the following plugin. Okay. Alright, so what we have to do is we can actually restart it. So just shutting down. I'll start it again. Okay, question from Kartik. To use Sonar, do you have to only modify pom.xml file or anything in code as well? You don't have to do anything. Basically, all you have to do is just call maven sonar and sonar. That's all you have to do. Okay, and you don't have to change your pom.xml file. You don't have to change anything. Okay, so that's in fact the advantage of Sonar. I mean, basically, it's just very easy to use. Okay, so now let's actually try to see whether we have the new plugin is actually being shown. So I'm going to actually go to log out. Okay, so since we actually restarted it, probably nothing to log out. So I'm going to just go to okay, so now Pet Clinic. Now we should have the motion chart, right? So that's what I just installed. So now I should actually see the motion chart. Okay, so this is the motion chart plugin I just installed. Okay, so let's see. This is what we just have done. In this case, it's actually installing Radiator. So this is what you should see. Okay. Exercise 4 is install Sonar plugin to Eclipse IDE. So basically, you're gonna actually install the Sonar Eclipse plugin from the Eclipse Marketplace, and then you're going to associate. You're gonna configure and associate with Sonar. Okay, and you select the project, and then from the Eclipse project, you should be able to see Sonar information. Okay, so this is the Pecklin example application. So let me just show you what I have. Yeah, so this is what I have. Okay, so again, if you go to configure, yeah, I have actually Sonar right here. So open Sonar, and then I can analyze locally and remove Sonar nature. So I'm actually basically seeing Sonar information right now. Alright, so that is pretty much what I have. Let's see.